Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Calgary Minor Soccer Association's Team Managers Meeting. We are just a couple of minutes past our start time, and it does look like some more people are still hopping on, but we're going to get started so that we don't waste too much of your guys' time. So again, welcome. My name is Melissa Collinson, and I am the Member and Operations Manager here at Calgary Minor Soccer. And with me today, we've got Kim Kerr, who is one of our league coordinators, and Rachel Hugh, who is our other league coordinator. These two ladies are actually probably the ladies that you will end up talking to the most throughout the season, as they are a great support to you guys. We will start the presentation. We are going to ask everyone to keep their questions until the very end. Because once we finish the presentation, we are actually going to pull up the website and show you guys where all of the resources and stuff that we talk about throughout the presentations can be found on the website so that you know where to find everything. Oh, I've got some no's occurring. Oh.
Ignore me, I'm just communicating with Rachel.
Okay. Sorry, guys. The girls are just doing some technical stuff on their end, and I will just proceed as we go. So again, let's just hold our questions to the very end. If you do need to write a question down, please feel free to use the chat to do that. Rachel will be monitoring that throughout the session. We just hope that a lot of the questions you may have do get answered as we get further into the presentation. All right, so the agenda for tonight does consist of us doing a quick review of just some of the rules and regulations that you will find most impacts you as a team manager. We'll talk a little bit about team officials. We will take a look at the schedules and most importantly, the game sheets. We will talk about some game day protocol, kind of all of the things that you need to have on a regular game day. For those of you who are U13 and above in tiers 1 through 4, we'll have a quick little blurb about the ASA Provincial Championship and qualification. And then this one's actually going to be the most important to you guys, is the CMSA forms. So once we get to that part, that's where you are going to start to see all of the things that you will want to have access to. So rules and regulations. So as a team manager, it is most likely that you will be in charge of printing off game sheets prior to the start of each game sheet. Now, if you print off your game sheets and you see an ineligible player, it literally will say right next to the player's name, ineligible. The two most likely causes of this will either be that we do not have a proof of age on file, and that needs to be sent to your club administrator, or that their player waiver hasn't been completed yet. So player waivers, you can click on many different buttons on the website, and it'll give you that'll be where every parent can go to complete their player waivers. If they happen to be missing both and they go to do their player waiver, the system will automatically prompt them to also upload their proof of age so that hopefully we can get both of those done in one time. Now, the next one that you will see on your game sheets is team officials. And if your team officials are red and ineligible, what basically that means is that we do not have a current police record on file or their respect in sport on file. And there will be, as the season goes along, a few more requirements, and I'll get to that a little bit later in the presentation. The other one that you will come across quite a bit is our play-up rules. So if you go into our rules and regulations and you find the section on play-up rules, it'll tell you, depending on where you are within the league, where you can call players up to from within your club system. It'll tell you what age groups and tiers below you that you're allowed to call from. What's also really nice about that section is that there is actually a chart that I hope at least makes it easier to figure out who you can pull from. And so please feel free to print off that chart, have it with you, and those kinds of things. The other really important one that we wanted to highlight this evening was field marshals. So if you look at the field marshals in our rules and regulations, you will see that the field marshals are actually kind of an advocate on behalf of the referees of your game. And so basically we are asking every team to have one parent or spectator from your own team to sit in your side of the stands with your parents and just kind of be more of the encourager, ensure that your parents maybe aren't getting out of line. Don't worry about the opposition's parents. They'll have their own field marshal. As well as we do actually have orange bands for you guys that can be picked up at the office at any time that you can actually give to your field marshal. And that actually helps the referee identify out of the spectators who maybe they could go speak to and just say, hey, can you please keep your spectators in line? Now, we aren't asking anyone to put themselves in a dangerous situation, and under no circumstances should they do so. But please just make sure that you do have these field marshals in place, and for each game that you make sure that their name is on the game sheet. If their name's not on the game sheet, we will actually consider that a fine for not providing that for the referees. We've kind of, we're buckling down a bit on the abuse that our referees are incurring, because what we'd really like to do is grow our referee pool so that every tier and age group can start having 3-man referee crews. Now that's not going to happen this outdoor season, but that is the goal moving forward, is to ensure that the referees are 3-man crews, and so that you've got your middle referees as well as your assistant referees on the sidelines. And the other one that you're going to come across probably quite a bit this season is our severe weather and air quality policy. This policy actually does come from Alberta Soccer. And basically in past, you'll all know that once you get to a game and say a thunderstorm comes through, previously the referee may call a game short due to lightning. And so we just wanted to really make sure we reiterated to everyone that those rules actually have changed. And it's as soon as the referee thinks that they hear thunder. Again, this is for everyone's safety. So regardless of whether or not you agree, we would ask that if a referee calls a game due to thunder, that we don't give any of the referees a hard time about that, but that we just listen and that we obey the 30-minute delay in game. So basically, you guys all go to your cars or to a safe place for 30 minutes, and it's 30 minutes from the last time that the referee hears thunder. There is a chance that the game could be called if there's not enough time to get the game in. The other one, which unfortunately we have seen in the last few years, is our air quality policy. So with this, just know that Calgary Minor Soccer is watching the air quality throughout the sessions and throughout the day. And we will, once anything below a 7 is still considered playable, with possibly when it's at that like 4 to 6, with the possibility of some breaks and stuff like that. But anything that is a poor air quality of 7 or above, CMSA actually will be canceling those games and rescheduling those. Again, it's just about player safety and making sure that everyone is good to go moving forward. Okay, so team officials, in your rules and regulations, you will also notice that we have a few different codes of conduct. We've got a general code of conduct, a team officials code of conduct, a parent's code of conduct, and a player's code of conduct. So this is just a please make yourself familiar with those code of conducts and ensure that all team officials are aware of those as well. As I said earlier, we are doing a little bit of a crackdown on referee abuse because we actually want to grow the pool and not send referees away. And so we have implemented the zero tolerance policy on referee abuse. Basically, if you just have a read of that, what that's saying is that we aren't asking you not to talk back to the referee in any way, that our team officials don't talk back to referees in any way. Persistent dissent, anything like that is considered referee abuse in this line. Basically, we're just asking you to let the referees call the game the way they're going to call it. Just because just going after them or yelling at them really isn't going to change any of the calls on the field anyways. And if you actually have a real concern about a referee, there are proper channels in which to send those concerns into us, and we'll go through those. So with our zero tolerance on referee abuse, we actually have created a new referee abuse reporting form. That can be found on the website. Again, we'll show you that at the end. But anyone can actually file a report if they witness any kind of referee abuse. And that will trigger us to just have a look into it, to check in on the referee, to check in on the game and those kinds of things. So we encourage spectators, coaches, team managers, anyone who's witnessed referee abuse is able to send in a report for us to at least investigate on some level. Okay, so our team official requirements, so things that will make them ineligible on your game sheet. For the start of the season, it is, again, like I said, the respect in sport as well as the police clearances. So if your referee, once you go into the back end and look at your roster, if your referees are, if you're, sorry, your team official, your coaches are in red, it means that they're missing one of those things. Now, we've been working very hard with your clubs in regards to training those coaches and the requirements that are needed in order for them to be a coach. We've probably been working with them for the last 18 to 24 months. So this isn't something new that's coming down. Your clubs have been very aware, have been encouraged to be educating coaches and putting on coach courses, having your guys as coaches enter any of the coach courses and stuff that we've been putting on. Jordan, our technical has been putting them on for the last 2 years, several before every season, several in the middle of the season. So there's been a lot of opportunity to ensure that everyone is properly certified. And so as the season goes on, we've implemented some timelines to ensure that everyone is getting the certifications and stuff that they require. So please just have your coaches check in with their club and make sure that they've got everything that they need. And then the club can guide them on what they need to do next to ensure that they've got what they need. I mean, it's very similar to something like swimming. You wouldn't want a swim instructor who wasn't properly certified teaching your kids and developing your kids in the swimming pool. We also don't want, we would like coaches to be properly trained in order to properly develop your kids on the field. And then the last one for team officials that is part of like their training and certification, but is very important and is within the CMSA rules and regulations, is our rule of two. You've probably heard of it because most sports have implemented this. But basically, it does mean that you need at least 2 adults at every game and practices. We would like 2 card-carrying adults at every game and practice. And when I say card carrying, I mean they've got a CMSA card so that we know that they've got all of the proper training and certifications. But the other important part is that there always must be 1 adult who's the same gender as the players. So if it is a boys team, we do require to at least have 1 adult be a male. If it is a girls team, we do require that one of the adults be a female. So this is for games and practices. We are able to better monitor the games, not so much the practices. So that is put onto the clubs to ensure that that rule is being followed by everyone within the club. So schedules and game sheets. I did notice via your guys' feedback when you were registering for tonight's session that there was a lot of questions around rescheduling. So I'm going to do my best to cover this off. Rachel is actually our rescheduling guru and is the person who you will be dealing with most on this. So she's going to pop in if I happen to forget anything. So the first thing, especially in the outdoor season, is that there is rescheduling due to weather. So this could be due to the rain, it could be due to thunderstorms, it could be due to the air quality, but it also could just be due to a field closure, to be honest with you. So any sort of field closure, that game will need to be rescheduled. And so what'll happen is, and again, we'll show you this at the end of the night, you'll go to our website and you'll go to where all of our rescheduling forms are, and you'll print off and follow the directions of the inclement weather rescheduling procedure. So again, we'll show you where that is and which one it is. So that's used for any of those things. Please make sure when you're checking your field closures that you're doing it even on the sunny days. Just make it a pretty good habit because there's lots of different reasons that a field could be closed. We've had irrigation issues where a field's been flooded that way. We've just had where a field's been destroyed after a big storm, and so the city has closed it. So just make sure that you actually make it a habit, regardless of what the weather looks like, that you just double check the field closures. There are a couple of different spots for that, and I think we'll get to that when we show you the website. The other thing for rescheduling is many of you will be looking at entering tournaments that might be out of town, might be out of province, might be out of country, all of those things. So we do have a separate rescheduling form for tournaments. They must be sanctioned tournaments. And so again, we'll show you where that form is. And when you click on that form, the whole first page is actually the step-by-step guide as to how to complete that form and all of the steps you need to do to follow that process. Now, our rescheduling does have some timelines tied to it. We are under strict timelines with our City of Calgary permits and such, and so we have had to ensure, and just, I mean, in the sense of letting other teams know and stuff. We do expect a completed rescheduling form for like a tournament to be submitted at least 14 days in advance. That allows us the time to process it and then to make the appropriate arrangements we may need to for those City of Calgary permits that we are holding. So again, we'll go through the procedure of one of those rescheduling forms once we get there so that you can see all of the things that you have to do in order to do that, which will include getting a new field, informing the other team or asking the other team and those kinds of things. Now, with rescheduling due to tournaments, we come up to travel permits. You do not need a travel permit when you are traveling within the province. However, as soon as you go to another province, somewhere else in North America or even overseas, there are travel permits that you will need to get from the Alberta Soccer Association. They do have a fee with them because it is actually kind of like the purchase of traveling insurance. So that your players are still covered by the sport accidents insurance when they're playing in a tournament somewhere else. So there are definitely stricter and larger timelines depending on where you're traveling for those. We'll show you where that is on our website, but it does end up linking directly to the Alberta Soccer Association's website because it is their forms that you will be filling out and submitting to CMSA. So we'll get into more of that as we get closer to that. Referee no-shows. Although we work very, very hard at making sure we have very few to no games that are not covered by referees. Our referees are human. Sometimes they get sick last minute. There could be a traffic incident. They could be in an accident. There are just times where perhaps you show up to a game, the other team is there, but there's no referee. Again, we try to keep this to as minimal as possible, but we are all humans. So when that happens, there is actually a rule within the CMSA rules and regulations that says that the game actually still must be played. There's no negotiation on that. There's no the teams didn't want to. The game actually must be played. So quite often there will either be someone within your spectators who's maybe ref before that could maybe step up and just ref that game. And the other option that often happens is that one coach will take half a game and then the opposing coach will take the other half of the game. The reason why we do say that these games have to be played is because, to be honest with you, we're just short fields. We don't have the luxury of having a bunch of open fields that we can just reschedule those games to. And again, we've got very strict processes with the City of Calgary regarding our permits and what happens when they're not being used. Okay, and then we can move on to our game sheets. So for the first couple of weeks, and we will show you this, for the first couple of weeks, you are able to enter in the jersey numbers of your players so that they print out on those game sheets. We'll show you where that can be done. This feature will only be turned on for you guys for a limited amount of time because it does give you access to a couple of other things that we actually don't want you having access to long term. But we did feel that it was worth giving you guys access to be able to add in your jersey number so that you're not writing on the game sheets every single game. So please just respect the fact that we've given you that access and make sure that you're only using it for that. If for some reason you have a change and that access has been turned off, you can actually send that change or you can send your jersey numbers to your club administrators, or if need be, you can send them into the office and we will update those for you. So printing of game sheets, as a team manager, you have access to print your team's game sheets. We recommend not waiting till at least, 24 hours before your game, especially at the beginning of the season, because some of your players are still working on making sure that they get eligible. So if you print your game sheets too soon, you may show kids as ineligible who may have become eligible within those days. So we would recommend holding off printing game sheets till at least one day prior to your game. And then we will also let you know that your games will need scoring. Although on the website we do not have standings for the U10s to the U12s. We do actually still need you to score those games. A lot of that is for data for us on the back end and allows us to hopefully continue to place teams in appropriate divisions as they move forward. So we just need that information so that we can make sure that we are giving everyone the best opportunities and experiences as they continue to move through the system. All right, so it's game day. On game day or the day before, you will print your game sheet. You can check to see ahead of time if you want, if there's still people who may be ineligible and try and follow up with them so that their kid can get onto the field for the game. If they are ineligible though, please do not play them. Unless you are 100% certain, like you've got a paper copy of their player waiver or something like that, do not play them. If you play an ineligible player, your team will forfeit the game and there will be a fine associated with that. So just make sure that you do that. So you'll print your game sheet. You'll know who your assigned field marshal is. Now it can be the same person for every single game throughout the season, or you can rotate it through all of the parents. That's really up to you and up to the team and how you guys want to handle that, but please make sure that you put the field marshal's name onto each of the game sheets. And your coaches or team official will need to sign the game sheet indicating, yep, I've looked at this game sheet. All of these players are here today. They will be participating and so on. If there's any player that's going to be absent, please make sure you just cross them off, or those ineligible players, cross them right off, so that there's no questioning whether or not those players played in the game. All of your players from U11 and up should have player cards. So the referee will ask to see all of those. So just make sure that you always have those cards. If they don't have a card, the referees will not, under any circumstances, let them play in the game. So the player cards are an absolute must, as well as the coaches' cards are also an absolute must, and that's for the U10s and up. At the end of your game, after a really exciting, encouraging, wonderful experience of a game, make sure you get a picture of the game sheet after the referee has filled everything in, because you will not be getting that game sheet back. Both teams will just be each printing one game sheet, and those game sheets become the referees. So just make sure you take a picture of those so that you have all of the information that you may need from those, such as you will need to track your players' yellow cards. The reason for this is because sometimes game sheets don't make it into the office as quickly as we would like them. And we've got some rules around the number of yellow cards players can get. So if you have a player who receives 3 yellow cards in a season, please make sure they sit their next game. That is a 1-game suspension for getting 3 yellow cards in a season. If your player then gets another 2 yellow cards, so now they're up to 5, that's actually a 2-game suspension. So please make sure that you write on the game sheet serving game 1 of 2, game 2 of 2 suspended. And then if your player then receives another 2, so you're now up to 7 yellow cards for one player, do not play them for their next games, and wait to hear from us. Because once we hit that seven yellow card in one season portion, we're actually probably going to bring them in and just have a little chat around that because we don't want that to continue. Also, if your player gets a red card, automatically assume that they're getting a minimum 1-game suspension. So no matter what, no matter when you hear from us, sit them that very next game. What'll happen is once we get the game sheet and the misconduct report and all of that from the referee, our discipline coordinator will review that. We'll compare it to our discipline code, and then we'll send out the appropriate sanctionings based on our discipline code for that player. I mean, for the most part, this should be pretty easy to do because the referee is supposed to take the player card and send it to us in the office. So you won't have a player card for that player. But if for some reason they forget to do that, do not play that player until you've heard how many game suspension that player has received. The other thing you're going to want to track is your play-ups. So if you're using players from a team that's below you, you do need to track those. If they're from a CMSA team, if they're from a CMSA team, they can play with your team up to 6 times. If you play them a 7th time, they're actually considered an ineligible player, and you will default the game and will be fined for playing an ineligible player. So it's important to just make sure you're tracking your play ups so that you don't play any play up more than 6 times. Now, if you are a U11 team, say, and you want to pull from a U10 team, the U10 players don't have player cards. So on the website, and we'll show you where this is, you will print off a restricted movement pass, and you will have that filled out, and then you will give that to the referee for the U10 player, and they will keep that with the game sheets. The only other form that we do have is a lot of the clubs have what we call house leagues, and so those are players who are just playing within their own club, are not in any of the CMSA registered programs. Those players can play up to 3 times. And so then you'll use a trial list form for that. And then of course, once you get home, or if you think you can do it via mobile, please make sure that you're scoring a game. The rules do say that home team is to score the game. However, we do find oftentimes the winning team gets excited and goes in and puts the score in. So it doesn't really matter to us at the end of the day, so long as it's scored. If you notice after a few days, one of your games isn't scored, just feel free to go ahead, pop in there and score it. If there happens to be an error in the score in the game, you won't be able to go back in and fix it. If there's an error, you'll have to send us an email, and then we will track down those game sheets, and we will do a double check, and we will fix the error. Please note that on the website, it will only show a 5-goal spread. So if it's like 7-1, it'll only show up on the website as 6-1. So that's not actually an error and doesn't need to be fixed. That's just as much as we will show. Okay, so ASA Provincial Championships. So for the U13 and above, so U13, 15, 17, 19, there are ASA Provincial Championships for tiers 1 through 4. This season, CMSA's programming did adapt a little bit to make way for a provincial level program. And so in that adaptation, we also had to make some adaptations into how you qualify for provincials. We've made that adaptation to allow all players the opportunity to play at whatever level it is that they wish to play at or strive to get to. So we've just aligned our programming so that players can play wherever they may want to try and get to. But with that, we did change our qualification. So there's 2 pathways. The first pathway is league standings. So for tiers 1, 2, and 3, one team will qualify through league play. So that is, of course, the league champion who will proceed to provincial. So they're the first place in the league. For tier 4s, it's actually the top 2 teams that will qualify for provincial championships. So that's the league champion and the runner-up who will go ahead. Pathway number 2 is through our new competition that happens at the end of the season, which is called our Challenge Cup. It's for the top 4 teams at the end of league play. And so for tiers 1, 2, and 3, a second team is qualified through the Challenge Cup. And it is the champion of Challenge Cup who will then go to provincials as the second CMSA team. Now, if the league champion and the Challenge Cup champion happen to be the same team, which of course is possible, it will be the runner-up of Challenge Cup who does get that second provincial spot. The reason why this doesn't apply to tier 4, although tier 4 will still participate for U13s and up in a Challenge Cup, due to the timelines and the fact that tier 4 provincials are so much earlier, we weren't able to host the Challenge Cup until after their provincials. So there is still a Challenge Cup. There will still be a Challenge Cup champion, but for tier 4, it's just the top 2 league winners who will proceed to provincial championships. Now, just because we do have some mixed age groups and all of those kinds of things, there's more to these rules than obviously just what I've shown you here. So if you want more information, please read this section within the rules and regulations. As well as we have pulled it out as a separate document, so that you can find it quicker, easier if you want to have a quick look at that. So that is how we're qualifying teams for provincial championships this year. And of course, we wish you all the best. Okay, so Calgary Miners Soccer Association forms. There are quite a few different forms. It's hopefully to help make things easier and stuff for you. So I'll just go through some of the ones that you may need throughout the season. Obviously the play-up forms. So like I spoke to a little bit earlier, restricted movement passes are for U10 players who are playing up because they don't have a player's card. And a trial list form is for a house league player. So a player who's not playing within CMSA, but is playing within the club program. They can use the trial list form to play up. Post-season forms, we do actually have a provincial opt-out form. So if your team, regardless of how they place, want to actually opt out from provincials because they're not interested in going, there is a form that needs to be filled out so that we can let the other teams know, so that like the next place teams know that they actually might be up for going to provincials. If you don't fill out this form and then choose not to go to provincials, there will be some hefty fines with that. The Alberta Soccer Association fines us if we're unable to field teams in those divisions that we've declared. And so we definitely have to pass those fines along if it's a team who's not opted out previously and then has chosen not to go. So for the tier 4s, those forms must be filled out by May 14th. So start talking to your teams now, just so that you have a feel like, hey, if we make the top or whatever, are we going? All of the dates of those provincials and stuff are on the website. They're on the forums. They're in a lot of different places. So just make sure that you talk to your teams. For tiers 1 through 3, because your provincials are later, your opt-out form doesn't need to be in until June 14th. Again, you'd be surprised how quickly the date's coming up. So just make sure that you're talking with your teams right from the get-go so that you guys know what's happening and what you want to do as a team. Those forms will have to get signed off by your clubs as well, so they are aware that your team is opting out. Incident reporting forms. So on the CMSA website, we do have an issues and complaints form. That's forms basically for anyone who feels like they want to bring to us a concern, but maybe want to remain anonymous, or maybe want it to come through us to go back to their club so that their name isn't back to their club, things like that. So if there are any questions or concerns or something like that, please feel free to use that issues and complaints form. As I mentioned earlier, we do have the referee abuse reporting form. So if you witness anything, please feel free to fill that out so that we can just do our best to support everyone in those types of situations. And now this one's important as well. It's our referee evaluation form. We actually encourage you guys to fill those out. And so this must be filled out by a team official. But we definitely encourage you to fill that out after every single game. The reason for that is because those are the best ways that we can tell whether or not a referee is struggling and may need a little bit of support, or in the alternative, that a newer referee is doing really great, and we get lots of great feedback on them. Perhaps then we can get someone else to look at them and look at maybe challenging them and pushing them up so that they can start doing higher level games or any of those things. So it's really important for the referees on both sides of that, whether or not they need some more support, or whether or not we need to start challenging them some more. On the CMSA forms page, you will find the links to the travel permits and the different levels of travel permits, as well as there are some health and safety forms on there. The health and safety forms, there's an injury report form that we encourage people to fill out, as well as a return to play form. So that's for like if your player has a concussion. So go check those forms out so that you understand what they are. And then of course, under the health and safety forms, there is a link to the sports accident forms. So that's your insurance. All of your registration fees actually pay for insurance for each of the players and coaches. So if someone gets injured, we would encourage you to tell them to fill out these forms and get them sent in, whether or not they use the insurance or not. They must be submitted within 30 days of an injury. And what happens is that can provide additional support for coverage on things like physio, or there's, I mean, you'd have to look at the thing. There's a lot of different things, but it does kick in after any of your personal insurance that you may already have has been exhausted. And then if you've still got physio or something like that, it does kick in and will help carry that a little bit further. So, I mean, you're already paying for it. Your players are all already paying for it. So just make sure that those are getting filled out and submitted, so that if they need to use it, it is there for them to use. And we just wanted to highlight a few of the CMSA upcoming events. So this year, Calgary Miners Soccer actually turns 50. So throughout this outdoor season, throughout the entire year, in fact, you're going to start seeing a few different anniversary type events things to attend and come and enjoy, and so on. And so we're really excited about those. We're also really excited about the fact that the Calgary West Soccer Center that's up in the Northwest is celebrating its 20th anniversary. So we will definitely be celebrating that this year as well. Our annual Calgary Cup tournament runs from July 5th to 7th. So please make sure that you get registered for that. We would welcome all of you into the tournament and hope to see you. And then just keep, because this one's coming up a little bit quicker, just keep an eye out for information about our Copa watch party on June 20th. So Canada is playing Argentina that night. So we're going to host a really big watch party over at the Calgary West that evening. So keep your eye out for that because we would love to hang out with you guys. Okay, so this is the portion where often we start to take some questions. However, I do actually think it's super important that we take you to the website first, just to really show you some of the ins and outs, and hopefully that'll actually answer a bunch of the questions you might ask right now. And then once we've gone through all of that, we will definitely say, go ahead, turn your mics on and send us some questions. So I'm gonna let Kim run this next portion. Just because she's a really great guru at the website and the stuff in the back.
Might be. I'm just trying to get, is it sharing it? Probably not.
Not quite. There you go. It's coming.
Loading.
There it is. Yep.
Okay. Do you want to talk which ones you want to go to first, Melissa, or?
I mean, I would definitely start right from show them. I mean, obviously they can see right now. If you look off to the one hand side, there's the player waiver.
So we have, yeah, the player waiver where you can send your parents to look at it. This is where they can find a printable player waiver if they're having issues to fill out the form online. They can print one off, fill it out manually, and then email it in as soon as possible into our office. It'll be time-stamped by an email. If you have a bunch of players on your roster that you know that it's ML, and I'll show you how you know that through our player waiver. I would recommend if you have a practice like in the next day or so before your first game, print off a bunch of them, take them to the parents and have them sign them and email it to us directly as soon as possible. There is a step-by-step guide as well on the website that gives them information on how to do it online as well. At the top of the website there, you'll see a link guides directly right to your schedules. I'm pretty sure that all of you have already found that. And then one of the main things up at the top of the website, this is where you're going to find all of the forms that Melissa talked about the entire time. So we'll go to league rules first. League rules, this is where we have it broken down for your CMSA rules and regs, the program handbook, and then all of those vital information that Melissa spoke about that she had pulled out into an easy access sort of guide for yourselves. Is there any questions on that? No? Fantastic. And then all the forms are also found under league forms. So if you hover over league, down to league forms, these are all the forms. Is it also the player waiver as well? Your player transfer forms, which are pretty much up to the clubs. Rescheduling forms. So this is one of the big ones. So you'll find rescheduling forms here. This is where you're going to go for rescheduling weather as well as travel. So the very first one is for the travel permits when you're heading to tournaments and you need to reschedule. All of the information is right here, and you'll click on the rescheduling form here in the middle. The rescheduling forms for the inclement weather, it has to be sent in 48 hours after the inclement weather, I guess, and fill that out. information is all in the forms. Any questions on that? I guess you could raise your hand if you need any. Nothing that I see. Fantastic. Must be doing a great job, Melissa. So we also have a guidebook here. You can find it in 2 locations, into the league forms as well as under coach manager. We do have the team officials handbook. So the team officials handbook is here. This will give you the links on how to edit jersey numbers, how to print game sheets, all the resources, your code of conducts. So someone asked about at the beginning. We also have them in here as well. Any information of the league, it is all in this handbook for you. And then if there's something that we totally missed, definitely call us and let us know. And then that can be also added down the road as well. So this is a great handbook. I definitely would keep this saved onto your desktop or laptop or whatever, because this is a great tool to go to for sure. If we're, any other forms, Melissa, that you can think of?
Would you mind just taking them to where the travel permits are so that they can
Yes.
kind of see that? Now, there is a question in the chat just because we're talking about it right now. To be honest with most of you, the travel permits, if you need a travel permit, you need to get started on those pretty quickly because their timelines are actually longer than our rescheduling timeline to get that form in. So it's kind of one of those things. It's not a this one before that one, but rather just try and get them both done as early as you possibly can.
Perfect. So travel permits are found under coach manager, and then you'll click onto the travel permits. All the fees are on here. It is all with Alberta Soccer. So we have the CMSA fee on here, but then you need to click onto the links to get the actual permits and the fee guides that Alberta Soccer does charge. Any questions of that, Eamon in our office does handle any of that. So you can definitely send him an email. All his stuff is at the top. But it's pretty simple guide. All of the information is on all of the forms. Prices with Alberta Soccer do fluctuate, so always make sure that you're looking ahead of time, and especially with the timelines, make sure you're planning ahead for that. If you're needing to reschedule and you need team contacts for the opposing teams, that can also be, you can contact your club admins. They have access to the entire league's contacts for those divisions. They will be able to give that to you as well. If you can't get a hold of them, definitely give our office a call and we can help you out with that as well.
Kim, in here, there's a question about the turnaround time for player waivers, POAs being submitted, and the eligibility being updated by Demisphere. That's every morning, correct?
Every morning. So if you have completed a waiver, the proof of age still has to be approved by us. Every morning, Demisphere does run a program to check to see if both of those are checked off for the players, and that'll turn them eligible to go. We will be definitely working really hard to get anyone who has submitted a proof of age and a waiver prior to the weekend, your first games, we will get those done. So be patient with us. We're working really hard at trying to get those completed. But we will definitely do our best to get them done prior to the first games for sure.
I can promise you every person in the office right now, that is one of their top priorities, is to help make sure that all of those are updated accordingly. Because we want the kids on the field just as much as you do.
Excellent. Oh, and a couple of the biggest things under the league forms, just so you know, it is where we have our incident reporting forms for the referees, for any formal issues and complaints, recruitments, more for the clubs. But all of the incident reporting forms are all based right there. The referee feedback form, though, is underneath referees. So it's the referee evaluation form, and that can only be filled out by the team officials. So coach, team manager, assistant coach. not parents. And then the health and safety forms that Melissa spoke on, insurance, Alberta Soccer Insurance, that is all under the league forms as well. So pretty much everything that you will need, go to league forms and it'll be there. It might be in multiple places, but it'll be there for sure. Anything else?
Player transfers, I'm just responding back to them, but if they have it transferring in pending, you are working on those, right?
Yes. It must be, oh, if it's showing on your game sheet or your rosters for transferring in. If that doesn't disappear prior to Friday at 4 o'clock, can you send me an email? There are some little glitches where if I did already accept the transfers, there's just something little I have to do, and so I will get that done. Playdown requests, if the clubs have sent them in, that'll get done as well. So I have probably about 85 sitting in my inbox to get the playdown requests done. So those will definitely be done before Saturday as well. It's added to the list. So that's for the forms in the website. So I do want to show you how to log in, how to get your game sheets. Someone did write in about not being able to print game sheets. That is a glitch right now. I am working on trying to get that fixed. You will be able to print game sheets prior. I've sent multiple emails to support staff at Demisphere. It was working yesterday, and for some reason it's disappeared. So I will definitely work on that for sure. So I'm just going to pull up a screen of a manager that's in here that I have access to, just so I can show you what it looks like when logging in. Perfect. I'm going to just pull this over here so I can see it. So you're going to go to the normal website, Calgary Minor Soccer website, and at the top there is a login button. If you have not yet logged in, please don't create a new profile. Use the email address you gave to your club to communicate with. That's probably the email address that's on your profile that they use to add you to the roster. Please retrieve or forgot password and get that sent to you, just so we're not creating duplicate accounts. That is something we do not want to happen. So when you do log in, this is the first screen that you are going to see. My Demisphere is your household, so that's where you can edit your players, their profiles, their pictures, upload their pictures and all that sort of stuff. Teams is where you're going to want to go. If you're not seeing your team on there and you're not seeing your roster, you might not yet be added to the roster. So definitely reach out to your club administrator, or even one of us here, we can tell you whether you've been added to the roster or not. So there you're going to look for your team. Your team needs to say Outdoor 24. Make sure you take a look at that and you're clicking on the right team. If you're a manager for multiple teams or a coach for multiple teams, you just have to keep an eye on that as well. So you're going to click on your team. It is going to populate, actually, with your team roster. Your schedule is on this left-hand side, and then your roster is on the right. So I do have a roster here. I made sure it was a roster that had ineligible players and ineligible coaches. If your coach is red, that means they do not have a police clearance updated with CMSA. So please tell your coach that, have him contact our office. It's Laura at our office that is now doing the police clearances, and get that set up properly right away. Do not let him coach, because he is not supposed to be on the field without a police clearance. If he is red and you print your game sheet, he will not show up on your game sheet. So please do not handwrite him in on the game sheet. He's red for a reason, meaning he shouldn't be on the bench. So when you scroll down to your players, this is where you're going to see the list of your players on your roster. If any of them are red, that's that play down that someone had asked in the chat. That means it's an age exception form that needs to be filled out. if the club has sent it in on that player's behalf, it will get updated. If they have not, so maybe just reach out to your club to ensure that they have already filled out that form and sent that in. If they're red, they will not show up on the game sheet either when you print it. If their birth dates on the birth dates, if it says verified, that means their proof of age has been turned in. So that's a good thing. If it says it's unverified, they're going to be ineligible. They're going to be ineligible for two things, a proof of age or a waiver. If they're verified and ineligible, just like this bottom one, so the proof of age was sent in, but the waiver has not yet been completed. So this is where you're going to be able to see what is missing. Have them, if they're verified with a proof of age, they still need to do the waiver. That's fine. They don't have to upload another proof of age. That part will be skipped and they can just complete the waiver. If they're unverified and ineligible, that means they'll need the waiver done. So have them submit the waiver and they'll upload their proof of age as well, and then they'll be good to go. Printing game sheets. You are going to go to your game schedule, which is on the left-hand side here. You're going to click the 3 dots. Right now, it's not showing a printer, but it would show a printer picture, a picture of an icon of a printer. That's where you can print your game sheet. It's frustrating, I can't show you that, but this is where you'll do it. After your game is over, this is where you're going to enter your score as well. So you'll click the button and then click the edit game icon, and then you can enter the score for the game. Simple, it pops up. It's easy to do. Someone had asked in the chat, when a player gets their player card, are they aged? Their age will become verified. It really depends on if the government ID was shown to the staff that did the player card. They can update it right then and there. If it wasn't, then no, it still needs to be uploaded and sent in by either doing the waiver, or your club admin can also send it in to us as well.
Kim, we do have a question about, we do not share the age of age exemption players, do we? Like the people that-
We do not. No, the age exemption, that's between the club staff. We approve it. So we are allowing that player to play down. It's not going to be like an 18-year-old is down playing on a 13-year-old team. That's not going to happen. It's pretty much usually like a U14, a small U14 is playing down on the U13 or something to that effect. It's never going to be an astronomical age difference, size difference, or anything like that. We do expect our clubs to be reasonable when filling out these forms and placing these players on that it's best suited for that player and that child.
Okay, and then ever any disputes over scores, how does that get sorted?
If you're meaning disputes over what the referee wrote down on the game sheet, that needs to be taken up with the referee prior to you signing the game sheet and taking pictures of the game sheet. If you've took pictures of the game sheet and then down 5 days later, 10 days later, you're like, no, I don't agree with the score. I don't know. There's nothing we could do about it. The ref wrote the score and you agreed with it. You took a picture and it was sent in. So if it was entered incorrectly on the website, then definitely you take pictures of your game sheets, send us an email, attach the game sheet with the pictures, and then we can adjust it on our end to match the game sheet.
Okay, so then we have a question from Natalie about the team manager's ID cards. So Natalie, I had stated that we highly recommend that all team managers get their team official cards. There's lots of times your coach could be stuck in traffic, could get sick last minute, and with a card you would be able to get on that bench and have that game continue to be played. You do not need proof of age or waiver. You don't have to do a proof of age or waiver to get your team official card. You just have to have your CPIC, respect and sport, like all team officials.
Another question here is, I don't have access or see 3 dots. You might not be yet rostered to the roster. If you want to send me a quick email, I can definitely check and see and inform me of what team you're supposed to be on and see. And I can definitely let you know what's happening, and we can contact your club admin as well.
Entering scores, we're required to also add DK. DK.
name and times of the players. You can enter, when entering scores, someone asked if you need to add in the time and who scored the goal. You can definitely do that. It's nice. We're trying to work on being able to show the stats for the kids and all that sort of stuff. Of course, U10 to 12, that doesn't matter. Just please enter the score. U13 and up, you can definitely, if you have the time, take, put in that number 2 scored. You don't worry about the time of the date, that time of the goal, that doesn't matter. Just who scored is fine. The next one
At
is
this point, sorry, just at this point,
Yeah.
that's not actually a requirement of ours. We're just slowly entering into that world of keeping those stats. So it might be required in future. So it would be really great practice if you started doing that now.
We have a question. How do we edit our contact information on roster staff page?
Okay, so if they mean contact information.
Yeah, how do we edit our contact information on our rostered staff page?
So that is definitely going to be your club admin will be able to do that for you. I was going to also show edit jersey numbers. That is something that you as team managers or officials would be able to do. So it will be the 3 dots above the rostered players. You're going to click that, and then that is going to show the gear icon. You're going to click on the gear icon. Here you're going to be able to enter the jersey number for every player on your roster. Goalkeepers, you can enter letters, so you can enter GK or just a K. And if they also play out, you can enter /5 or whatever you would like to do for that. Please do not touch the status bar of those players. This is the information that why I'm going to be taking it away in the next couple of weeks. I just don't want anything adjusted that shouldn't be adjusted. So please just enter the jersey numbers of your players. You're going to click save, and then that'll be completed. If we need to update it down the road, send us a quick email or contact your club admin and they can do it for you as well.
Yeah. I will just say that if you do change one of those statuses, we actually will find out. And so if you change a status from ineligible to eligible so the kid can play, but they haven't filled out all of their paperwork or whatever, we actually will find that out. There will be consequences for that, just because we're trying to allow you guys the privilege to be able to do that without going against the rules. So if they're ineligible, we will treat them as if they were ineligible, even if you change that. And so if you play an ineligible player, there will be defaults and fines with that. So just don't touch it. It's kind of one of those honesty policies where we're trusting you to be able to give you this access. And if that gets broken, then it just means that access won't be given out in future.
Okay, so Melissa, another question. Will we need to recruit linesmen, or will we have 2 refs?
So our tier 1 team should have a 3-man referee crew. So that's the middle referee and the 2 linesmen. Currently for this outdoor season, tier 2s and below, we do not have that capacity at this point in time. So please offer to have a parent line the game. Some of the referees will take you up on that offer, but some of those referees may decline it. So just we do encourage for you guys to offer that option to the referee, but just know that they may decline it.
Just a quick note, if you only need to edit one of the jersey numbers, you can just click the gear icon beside that player's name, and then at the top there you can edit the uniform number. Please don't edit addresses or any of that sort of thing, just the uniform number. But that is a possibility as well. So, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, we have can you show the game sheets apparently?
That's what I was going.
Yeah, that's what Chris is just asking, if we can show an example, a presentation of the game sheets for them to see.
If I can get there, yes.
Okay, while she's doing that, I'm just going to answer the question about one of the teams has a coach that is male for the boys team, which is great. However, the assistant coach and the team manager are both female. If the coach is away, how do we meet the same sex, same gender rule for the bench? So basically, obviously that assistant manager probably steps into that manager role. Team manager is the second card holding person. What you can have, and there is a spot for it on the game sheet, is you can actually have a same gender adult. This used to be called a bench parent, but it's the same gender adult. So it can be any of your parents. So in this case, you would choose a male spectator, dad, whatever, to come over and sit on the bench so that they are within earshot of everything that's going on and all of that. That parent, however, cannot say anything to the ref, cannot coach the kids or any of that. They are solely there to fulfill that role of the same gender on that bench with you.
Correct. So I just logged in as myself, so there's a little bit more different things on the screen, which is fine. But here's the 3 dots for printing, and then here is the print game sheet icon here. So we're going to print the game sheet. Ignore this, you won't have these options. It's yours will just come up to export. So we'll click export. This is normal. This is what happens. Then you will click on the link. Depends on which browser you're doing. It may come up to the top window for downloading. It may open a new tab. It all totally depends. Here is the game sheet. So the ineligible players will show ineligible on the game sheet. And then if your jersey numbers were entered, they would show up beside the players' names here on the game sheet as well. You are all required to bring one copy of the game sheet to all of your games, and then have it filled out. So if you're the home team, then you will fill out the coach, the field marshal, just print the field marshal's name. If required, the same gender adult, and then that'll be all done. Please ensure that if this is your game sheet and Leah was there, she is not eligible to play. Cross Leah off. If Emma's eligible and she wasn't there, just cross Emma off. It just helps keep it clean of, we know who was there, who participated. The referees are ensuring they're checking off the players as well. But if they check off and Leah, they check her off and she wasn't there and she wasn't playing, she's deemed to have played. If we see that she was not crossed off, she was deemed that she did play, and that means you played an ineligible player. So that is one of the biggest things, is just to always ensure and cross off any player that doesn't play. Same with coaches. Please cross off any coaches that aren't there. If you have a coach from your club that they sent you a coach because yours couldn't be there, that's why there's extra lines. You can write those coaches' names in on that roster. As long as a coach is rostered to a outdoor 24 CMSA team roster, they can coach for that team. So that is no issues at all. If they are not rostered to any team in CMSA for this outdoor season, they are not eligible to coach. So if your parent has a coach's card and he's like, it's okay, I'll step in, I'll coach the team, and he's not rostered to any other CMSA team, he is not eligible to coach, whether or not he has a coach's card in his hand. So do not let him coach. Any questions about the game sheet itself?
We have a jersey number question for goalkeeper. For keepers, they sometimes have number 1 jerseys, but they have another number for when they play out. Which number do you submit?
So there you can either do the number 1 and then put a slash and then put whatever other number, 21, if they play out with a different number, that's totally fine. So if keepers play with in and out of the net, then put both, just put a slash in between them or a hyphen, it doesn't matter.
Okay, so I did also notice a question regarding ASA provincial qualification. Sometimes ASA does request additional teams. And so I know when I went through that slide, it was very short and sweet. I'm going to encourage anyone who could be qualifying for provincials to please go read that section of the rules and regulations. But the question was specific to those additional teams and who would qualify for those. So I went to the rules so that I didn't get it wrong. In the case where Alberta Soccer Association invites additional teams, the next highest ranked team in the final CMSA league standings will be notified and qualify for ASA provincials. So if there's additional teams, they will, whatchamacallit, it will come from the league standings portion of our qualifications.
Janelle asked, when looking at my roster, some of the players are listed as ineligible. They already have cards and a proof of age, so why are they ineligible? Those players may not have played, they might not have played in indoor. The waiver is good for the indoor season as well as the outdoor season of that year. So indoor 23-24 and outdoor 24 has the same waiver. Those players might have played in the previous outdoor, which a lot have done, meaning they haven't completed the waiver. So please just get them to go and fill out the waiver online, and then they will become eligible to play.
Okay, we're getting the question again. Is it possible to input our team colors on Demisphere?
The team colors, it is all a club concern. So please contact your club. The clubs can request through us and Demisphere to have the jerseys, the colors put on there. Some have, some haven't. Just reach out to your club administrators. That is something that they have to do.
Rescheduling question for inclement weather. Is it the responsibility of the home team to follow up on this? Technically, it would be, however, I am fine with any team submitting it. If the form gets submitted, then we reschedule the game. So.
Chris, just contact your club admin. It might be that they have added the old team manager and not yourself. So just let them know, and they can definitely revise it for you.
Very good question. How do teams find out if community fields are closed? Do you want to respond to that, Melissa?
Yep, I sure can. So community fields, so that's for the U10s to the U12 age group. And basically what happens is what you need to do is you need to look at who the home team is and go to that home team's website. All of our clubs who are providing community fields should have field statuses on their websites for you guys to check that. So if it's like an MUSC against a Blizzard, and Blizzard's home team, you would go to the Blizzard's website to double check to see if their fields are open. The reason that is because the city allows the clubs to open and close those community fields. Anything that's U13 and up that is on an athletic field, you will go to the City of Calgary's field closure. We do also have that, you can find that link through the CMSA website under the is it under the coach manager tab, I believe?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. And so then that'll take you to the City of Calgary website and you can look for open and closed lines there.
You've got some good questions.
Yeah, Lucy asked a good question. Hi, Lucy. The CMSA card does not mean proof of age has been submitted. That's correct. And also, you cannot submit a CMSA card as a proof of age. We've had that done quite a few times. So a proof of age has to be verified with a government issued ID, birth certificate, passport, health card, permanent resident card, anything like that, but it has to be a government issued ID. So do not upload your player's card.
Here's a good one. All player names on our roster are in black except one player in blue. What does that mean? I've never seen that.
I don't know. Send me an email and we'll find out.
Yeah, Shannon, if you can send an email in, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Do all game fields have washrooms or portable toilets, no. Hit and miss, so make sure you go prior to. Oh, their child's name is in blue. I don't know.
We'll check on that. Send me an email with your roster and I will definitely look.
Doesn't
'Cause
matter if
that's-
I have one player listed twice.
It does matter, so email me and I will fix that as well. Any issues with your roster, with player issues, anything like that, shoot us an email. We can definitely get it fixed. It just we have a lot of issues with duplicate profiles, so I'm working really hard on trying to get that fixed and trying to stop that from happening. But just always just let us know. Don't just print game sheets and go. It's better to get it fixed, and we will definitely work with you on that.
Where do we find field locations for community fields?
When you do go to your schedule, above the, if I'm still logged in. Guess I'm not. And if above your schedule, there is a little blue thing that says map, and it will actually show you the location of the home team. It will give you a map on the main website where you do get your schedule as well. If you click the name of the field, it will give you an address as well on the website. So it is all there. If you do see that you do not have a time or location, if you're in the U10 to 12 age group right now, the 10 to 12 age groups, the clubs provide the community fields for those games. That means I have not received it from the clubs yet. I'm working on getting, there are a few for not this weekend, but next weekend. I will get those updated. I'm still waiting on the clubs to respond and get back to me with a actual field and time for those games. So it will happen. Just please be patient with us for sure.
So far, that's all the questions.
Anything else? Oh, that's a good thing, Angela. Thanks. What age group are you, Angela? Because I would like to know. Enter the
Can you
score
show
again.
once again how to enter the score?
I can't show you. I can show you where to go. I can't show you how to do it because it will only populate after the game has been played. So there's a time things of the time. It knows how long the game time is. So it will not show the population of that until after the game has been played. So don't try to enter it halfway through the game because it will not. Keeping score, yes, U10 and up, always keep the score. U10 to 12 scores are not published, but we still ask you to enter the score so we can keep track on the back end.
So I have one, Tracy, if you can just email that into the office, about your player going ineligible and then back to eligible, and then just send an email to us and we'll look into that account for you.
Okay.
Somebody else would like to know how to add player numbers into, so if you can do another jersey number.
So jersey numbers, game sheets, you're all going to log in. I'm not sure if you need me to show you how to log in again. I can do that as well. But if you get logged in and you get to your team roster that you can see, this is where you're going to see your rostered players, your rostered staff. To edit the jersey numbers, there is the circle with the 3 dots above the rostered players. You're going to click the 3 dots. You're going to click the gear button, and that'll bring up a screen that you can enter all of your jersey numbers here on the screen for the kids. You'll click save, and then that'll be entered for you. Any changes after we are just if there's a few that maybe just came in, we are leaving this open probably for the first couple of weeks. After that, I am shutting that off. We do not want it to be accessed anymore because you do have access to change ineligible players, and we don't want you to be doing that. So please don't touch anything else other than just entering the jersey numbers. Entering the score of the game, it'll come up where the same spot where you can print your game sheets. So before the game, the printer button will be there. After the game, it won't be there anymore because there's no point in printing it. Then you select a I believe to enter the score, it looks like, what's it called? Paperclip. It looks like a paperclip. Not the gear button, but a paperclip. It'll show on the screen. You'll click that and a new screen will populate where it says home team, away team, and you enter the score and submit. Simple. Once someone has submitted it, so if the home team submits it, you go in to do it and it's not populating, that means the score's already in. So then you don't need to worry about it.
I have a really interesting question, Melissa, from Norbert. If I'm down a coach for one game, can I have my 14-year-old daughter that is a CMSA registered player assist on the sideline for my child's U11 game, not coaching, just shoelaces?
So no,
I've never had that.
unfortunately, that player cannot be on the bench side of the game unless they are listed as a registered coach. And I know that that sounds funny, but we do have some like 17-year-olds and stuff who are actually registered coaches who do all of that kind of stuff, but they are registered coaches. Your 14-year-old, unfortunately, if they are not registered, they will not be allowed to sit on the bench side of the game. Sorry.
Chelsea, I saw that you said that you're not seeing a roster table. Can you just send me a quick email and we'll discuss that? It might just be that you're not yet rostered as a team manager. I'm not sure, so we'll have to definitely look into that.
We have a suggestion from Stephanie just about the Challenge Cup official field marshals. Too much responsibility for parents as it gets intense. That's actually not a bad thing. Do you want to email that into the office, Stephanie, a suggestion, and we can just kind of keep that online and just see what we can do with that?
You can also reach out to your club on things like that. If you know that, the team that you played before, intense, maybe they can send out a club official or someone else to help with the spectators on that side if it is getting too big of an intense. Even send an email into CMSA and maybe that's something that we can look into as well. Yeah. We definitely want to not feel overwhelmed or anything like that for sure. And we want to make sure that the spectators are behaving themselves. So that is definitely something you can ask your club about. Definitely have a conversation with your coaches and your club officials as well. Rachel will add in my email and her email into the chat as well, just so everyone has it.
Rachel, I did it already, sorry.
Melissa,
look at you.
If you have any questions or concerns, Demisphere questions,
go to Kim.
Email me. Rachel will just forward them to me anyway. So
all rescheduling and all that kind of jazz can come to me, please.
And complaints go to me.
And complaints to Rachel.
So Nikki, I see your last minute question about treasurers and switching them from one parent to another. You need to talk to your club about that. That is a club level situation. So just contact your club and they should be able to let you know what the process is.
There is a hand up in the chat and I don't know who it is.
View all. What's the hand in the chat? Are you waving by?
I can't turn her unmuted. Can you allow her mute?
She or he should be able to unmute themselves. So it's
Lindsay, do you want to unmute yourself and then you can chat?
Lindsay, oh, sorry, that's because,
can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, I was having some difficulties sending in my question. I was just having some difficulties with the Demisphere app.
Okay.
I'm not sure if there's a difference between online or the app. But
there is a little bit of a difference.
Okay.
Are you trying to do everything on the app or you're just trying to use that for seeing games and stuff like that?
Well, for seeing games, but just because I'm in this meeting right now on my laptop, I thought, well, I'll go on my app on my phone to check out the team and the verifications, and I'm not seeing any of that.
Yeah, that is definitely different in the app.
Oh, okay. So you have to do it through online.
I would do it online, especially for eligibility of the players. It is definitely a different process through the app and not as efficient to be able to look through each of your players.
Okay, fair enough. Great, thank you.
No problem.
Do sportsmanship scores assigned by referees bear any cumulative, oh, where'd my question go? Cumulative weight, or are they tracked in any way? So it's the fair play, which are now not on the game sheets.
So if you notice on the new game sheet that I just re-added, I removed that box as right now we had no way to track it the way we wanted to track it. So I am trying to work out a system to be able to do something like that, because it is a great thing to be able to manage and give those teams that get 10 straight across the board, recognition about it. But right now has been removed, so you won't see that on your game sheets. If you've already printed your game sheets, I think I just did this yesterday, so maybe reprint your game sheet. Just a heads up on that.
Oh, you're welcome, Angela and Chris and all of you.
Anything else? Any other questions that I missed that we can chat about?
It does look like there's one more question. I see my team in app, but not on web under Demisphere. So I'm not 100% sure I understand the question. Maybe Kim, you understand?
If that means that you do see it on the app, it could be like if you're a team manager trying to see it through the website, it might not be showing that. So definitely just send me an email and we'll look into it, and I'll find out what's going on with that for sure.
Okay, this is Pritika. That was from me. I
Oh,
am
okay.
the manager, but again, demo app, sometimes, if someone messages, I have to close it, open it just to see if I missed somebody's app. And there are more than 2, 3 seasons active on demo app as well. The teams are active
Okay.
even on the web. So that sometimes when you have 2 or 3 kids from the same house doing it, then it's too much to handle, right? So if we can.
What club are you with?
I'm with the Calgary City FC.
That might be another. I'll look into that, because they do use Demisphere as their registration platform as well, and they use all of their stuff. So it might be something to that effect, but I will definitely reach out to their admin and Demisphere and see what's going on with that.
Oh, okay. So it's basically club that needs to deactivate or close it?
Yeah.
Okay,
So I may have to just go in and deactivate the other seasons. I don't know, but I'll look into that for you.
Okay, I'll bug them too then. Okay, thank you.
We have a question in the chat. Where can we find tournament options? If you go to the Alberta soccer page under competitions, there's a tournament calendar that will list all the tournaments. They do all of Alberta tournaments. Sometimes they'll add tournaments out of province. If you're looking for out of province, you visit the provincial governing body. So if you went to BC Soccer, they will also have a tournament page to let you know what tournaments are in British Columbia and so on. You can also just Google soccer tournaments and they will give you a ton of them in the US. Or you can call Eamon in our front office that takes care of travel permits. He pretty much knows every tournament that's extremely popular for our CMSA members.
Do we have any other questions? We really appreciate you guys attending this meeting. We thought we would start doing this again. If you do have any questions after this first weekend of games, please reach out. Please contact us and let us know of anything maybe we missed. And then at that, maybe we can send an email out to everyone. That would be helpful for others to know. But definitely use each other. Use your club admins. Your administrators are really great resources as well. Yes, everyone is overloaded right now because it's a really busy time of season. Be patient. Be patient with our new referees. We have a lot of brand new referees out there. And just so you know, most of them won't be wearing teal shirts because I don't think they got them in time for their games this weekend. So they still are new referees, even though they're not wearing teal shirts. But please be patient with them. it is all new and scary, and you know how scary some of those parents can be for new referees. So we don't want to scare them off. We want to keep them. We want to grow them so they can grow with us. But we do really appreciate you all being here and coming aboard and being team managers. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work doing all of this stuff for those teams and those players. And
we can say that because we've all lived that role a few times before as well. So we know what you're doing.
Yeah. So please reach out if you need us. We're here for you.
Megan, if
yeah.
you have a question, feel free to unmute your mic.
Yeah, sorry, I just have one question. We have an assistant coach, but he hasn't completed his respect in sport or the police check. Is he able to still run practice and just not do games, or?
I mean, realistically,
We don't know.
we encourage them to have all of that before participating in anything. And we would hope that your clubs would encourage that those things are completed before they are doing that. With that said, we obviously don't have the ability to monitor that quite to the same extent as we do for the games. Again, we strongly encourage that all of these policies are applied to practices.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
We also got a question about who gives out the armbands. The clubs, a lot of times the clubs will come in and pick up mittfuls of them. If your club does not have an armband, please come to the CMSA office and we can distribute those to you.
So just know that this weekend we are actually open for player cards, so you can sneak in on this weekend if you can't come during our regular office hours to come grab those armbands as well. They will gladly hand them out to you while they're doing player cards as well.
And it's here at our office. And we moved locations, if you didn't know. We're not across from the soccer center anymore. So double check the address when you come. I think that might be, oh.
On Demisphere, am I able to update and save some players and some not? Oh,
I'm
able.
Regina, do you want to just unmute and ask that question? I'm just kind of not sure what you mean.
Yeah, sure. I'm just doing this right now, but I'm able to update, edit, and add player numbers for certain players, and then certain players I'm not able to. So I don't know what that means.
Interesting.
Neither
Just as a
do we.
quick thing, do you want to name your team for me quick, and I can take a look?
Pardon me?
What team are you with?
Oh, I'm with the MUSC U12 Titans.
For the rest of you, don't feel the need to stay on if you are done with your questions. We are definitely finished from our end. So thank you again so much for being with us tonight. We really appreciated being able to help you guys along this journey. Again, feel free to contact your clubs if you have any questions, because they are a wonderful resource and can help you with a lot of things. But again, you can always contact us at the office. I'd like to think that we are very helpful when we are able to. So thanks again for joining us tonight, and we wish you all of the success this season.